Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you all. In the name of Allah, the gracious, the merciful, we begin by acknowledging we are gathered on Treaty 6 lands and the traditional lands of Métis, Dakota, Lakota, and Soto. My name is Rashid Ahmed. I am the outreach coordinator for Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at, Saskatchewan. I would like to thank all of you for attending tonight's event organized by Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at, Saskatchewan. Our community is an international revival movement of Islam. It started in 1889 and it spans over 200 countries. It was founded by Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, may God be pleased with him, who claimed to be the long-awaited Messiah foretold by most religions of the world. He did not bring a new teaching, but rather came to reinstate the teachings of Holy Prophet of Islam, Muhammad, peace be upon him. Since his demise, the community has been led by spiritual successorship or caliphate. The current and fifth successor is His Holiness Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, who has traveled extensively urging the world and its leaders to recognize their creator and to put aside vested interests to promote global peace. He has repeatedly and categorically condemned heinous acts committed by radical organizations in the name of Islam. His Holiness has led millions of Ahmadi Muslims across the world in promoting the true and peaceful teachings of Islam. With our motto, love for all, hatred for none, and through the leadership of His Holiness, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community is at the forefront of serving humanity by opening secular schools and hospitals, assisting orphans, providing access to clean water and energy, among many other humanitarian causes across the world. Now I would like to invite Wajahat Ahmed, who will be our moderator for the event, to lead this event. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings of Allah be upon everyone. Welcome everyone to tonight's event. It is our tradition to begin every event with the recitation of the Holy Quran. I'd like to invite Mr. Arham Qureshi to read a part of the Quran for us.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. May peace and blessings be upon you all. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وتلك حجتنا آتيناها إبراهيم على قومه نرفع درجات من نشاء إن ربك حكيم عليم. ووهبنا له إسحاق ويعقوب كلا هدينا ونوحا هدينا من قبل ومن ذريته داود وسليمان وأيوب ويوسف وموسى وهارون وكذلك نجزي المحسنين وزكريا ويحيى وعيسى وإلياس كل من الصالحين. Now I will present the English translation of the verses presented in front of you. I seek refuge of Allah from Satan the accursed. In the name of Allah, the gracious and ever merciful. And that is our argument which we gave to Abraham against his people. We exalt in degrees of rank whomso we please. Thy Lord is indeed wise, all-knowing. And we gave him Isaac and Jacob, each did we guide aright, and Noah did we guide aright aforetime. And of his progeny, David and Solomon and Job and Joseph and Moses and Aaron. Thus do we reward those who do good. And we guided Zechariah and John and Jesus and Elijah. Each one of them was of the virtuous. Jazakallah. Thank you.
Jazakallah Arham. Before we begin tonight's event, we have a brief message from Nick Jensen, who is the president of the Multi-Faith Saskatchewan organization. He wasn't able to make it out today, but he sent us a virtual presentation that he wants to share with us, so we'll play that on the TV.
Hello, peace be with you. My name is Nicholas Jessen. I serve as the current president of Multi-Faith Saskatchewan. On behalf of the board of Multi-Faith Saskatchewan and all of the faith communities across our province, I am pleased to bring you greetings on Religious Founders Day. I wish you a very successful gathering. Multi-Faith Saskatchewan gathers together representatives from the diverse faith communities of the province. We share your goal of building peace, harmony, and understanding between people of faith. Like you, we seek to build relations based on love and respect for one another and for our religious and spiritual communities. We are saddened by the increasing Islamophobia and intolerance in our society. We are committed to working with you to address racism, hatred, and violence in our cities, towns, and villages. Multi-Faith Saskatchewan has identified this as a priority for our work, and we invite you to join with us in finding ways to work for peace and harmony. We give thanks for the many ways that the Ahmadiyya Muslim community continues to serve the people of Saskatchewan and to promote the common good. And we look forward to many more years of life together in Saskatchewan. May you continue to live in God's blessings. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you. With that being said, we'll begin our event tonight. Our event is Religious Founder Day. We have 4 speakers speaking about their religious founders from their respective religions. Each speaker today will be given 15 minutes to speak on their topic. If you do go over 15 minutes, I'll be at the back. I'll put up my hand just to get your attention so you know that the time is up. Our first speaker today is Tom Ceresky. He's been a teacher with the Greater Saskatoon Catholic School Division for the past 32 years. Having taught both elementary and high school throughout his career, currently Tom is both a teacher of Catholic Studies and a teacher chaplain at Holy Cross High School. In Tom's classes, he endeavors to build community with our faith denominations by recognizing that we exist in a multi-faith community and country. To that end, he actively pursues taking his students to multi-faith field trips. He's brought his class to our mosque many, many times as well. Tom's wife, Norma, is a grade 2 teacher at St. Voldemar Catholic Elementary School, and his children, Nathan and Jenna, are both graduates of St. Joseph High School as well. With that being said, I would invite Tom for his presentation first. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Rashid, for the invitation. And this is a little bit nerve-wracking to begin first, so bear with me here. I am going to speak on, you might say, the Christian message can be expressed in 12 words, if you will, or 6 pairs of words. And I use the first 6 words from St. John the 23rd, see all, overlook much, forgive all. And then the second set of words I take from the book of Micah, act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly. So the Christian Gospels calls us to choose life, to serve the least among us, to hunger and thirst for justice, and to be peacemakers. Now, this isn't solely done within the realm of organized religion, but in all facets of one's life, whether you are religious or non-religious, spiritual, non-spiritual, a believer or a non-believer. So I'm going to use Christian terminology, but the challenge here for me is I want you to accept the challenge and apply my Christian terminology to your faith. The words might be different, the players and the people might be a little bit different, but I think you'll come to understand, if you can put yourself and your faith in my terminology, you will discover that we are essentially the same. So I'm going to take each pair of words, I'm just going to tease them out a little bit, just to give you a little bit more complexion on this. So St. John, so see all. St. John of the Cross, one of the great doctors of our Catholic Church and best known for his writings, once said that learn to understand more by not understanding than by understanding. So learn to understand more by not understanding than by understanding. And it's an expression that applies to all of us gathered here today. Specifically, this expression challenges us to begin to understand one another instead of placing people and communities, cultures, and religions into categories about what we think we know, or what we may have seen, or what we might have heard, or even what we read. We judge so much based on appearance and fashion and one's religion and their faith, and we deprive ourselves of getting to know them, to understand them. To see is to seek opportunities for understanding. In my classes, I seek opportunities for my students to experience the beauty of different faith traditions so that bridges of understanding can be built upon across canyons of misunderstanding and ignorance. And if we live what we claim we preach, then we must live the words of St. John of the Cross and see all. And to that end, I'm also looking to get into your respective places of worship so that my own students can see all. So if you're up for a group of grade 12s to come to your place of worship, I would be much in debt to you. Overlook much. I was once told that if my hands are fully occupied in holding on to something, I can neither give nor receive. And Richard Rohr, a Franciscan writer, even says what we cling to can end up rotting in our hands. And that can even relate to our own religiosity, even our traditions and our orthodoxy. If we hold on to what happened in the past, we can never receive the present nor welcome the future. If we continually hold on to past hurts and resentments, we will never give or receive new life within ourselves or in our future relationships. If we hold on to anger, we will deny ourselves healing and forgiveness. Also, as people committed to our faith, we are called to overlook much, especially in this time of varying positions on vaccinations and masking and COVID protocols in general. If we hold on to our anger and resentment and bitterness, we will deny ourselves healing and forgiveness. And if we hold on to loss, we will never hold on to life. Overlook much. Forgive all. You've probably heard people say, I don't get mad, I get even. Are we living in a society that promotes that way of living? We live in a society of continual retaliation, yet we also must remember that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. The slogan "Forgive and Forget" is a recipe for denial, not a formula for forgiveness. Forgiveness does not require us to forget. What it does require of us is release. The release of the negativity and hostility associated with being messed over. By letting go, our desire for revenge will not poison us. Simply put, what is forgiveness? It is to let go of our need for a different past. We can't control what happened to us, but we can control how we move forward. Jesus was messed over on a dark Friday, yet in his cry he forgave and therefore was able to cross over. Forgive all. And act justly. Social justice goes beyond the semantics of failure and loss by delving deep into the issues that need to concern us all as citizens. In its early days, the term social justice specifically targeted poverty and a need for equal distribution of resources. Today, that term has acquired a broader and more detailed definition, including issues of segregation, that accounts for specific modes of moral treatment. It is important to try to make a difference for social justice in the world whenever we can. We all live in the same world, so why not make it better for everyone in any way we can? Now, development and peace, which is our Catholic branch of social justice, stands there with those whose dignity has been denied. They locate themselves with the poor and the powerless and the voiceless. At the edges, they join the easily despised and the readily left out. They stand with the demonized so that the demonizing will stop. As partners with development and peace, we at Holy Cross High School situate ourselves right next to the disposable so that the day will come when we stop throwing people away. Act justly. Love mercy. President Abraham Lincoln once remarked, "I've always found that mercy bears richer fruit than strict justice." Lincoln died violently, as did many other prophets of nonviolence, but may it always be said and understood that the best way to fight a system of violence is with a system of compassionate people. Days like we are having today, this is especially an honor to be here, should begin to cause a ripple effect that engulfs our schools and our communities and our faiths in generosity, understanding, acceptance, peace, healing, and love. After all, love for all, hatred for none. Love mercy. And walk humbly. It's been said that if you want to be happy for an hour, take a nap. If you want to be happy for an afternoon, watch a game. If you want to be happy for a week, take a vacation. If you want to be happy for a month, go on a honeymoon. If you want to be happy for a year, win the lottery. But if you want to be happy for a lifetime, serve others. To walk humbly is to serve others. To walk humbly is to accept the challenge and be content to live without watching yourself live. To work without expecting an immediate reward. To exist without any special recognition, and to love without an instantaneous satisfaction. As Christians, through the example of Jesus Christ, we should remember that pure love is a willingness to give without a thought of receiving anything in return. Love can save the world from destruction. Love God. Turn to God with receptiveness and responsiveness. Love your fellow human beings. Turn to them with friendliness and in giving. Make a commitment to living the way of love. Walk humbly. So in conclusion, I use the words of our former Pope, St. John the 23rd, the one who initiated Vatican II, where he sought greater understanding and unity of the many different faiths of the world. And he once declared, "The banquet table is open to all who are willing to sit down with all." The hallmark of the Christian religion is to follow the example of Christ, who promoted open table fellowship, where sinners and outcasts were welcomed, not rejected, who were accepted, not judged, and who were loved despite the sins and the obstacles in their lives. Whatever faith we follow, aren't we ultimately called to do the same thing? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tom. We have our next speaker up, Mr. Nandat Kumar. Nandan did Masters in Business Administration and has been working for the as an HR manager in the Sindh government of Pakistan. Nandan moved to Canada with 2 kids and wife, Shabnam Rathore, in 2016. Nandan is currently working in Saskatoon Public Library as a public service associate. Nandan is an active member of Saskatoon Hindu community. I would invite Nandan to come and speak to us.
Assalamu alaikum, Sat Sri Akal, and Namaste. And dear brothers and sisters of my beautiful town, Saskatoon, thank you for coming today. And thanks from world's oldest civilization, Hinduism. I'm one part of Hinduism, and before going further into it, I want to share, it's okay, can I? Thank you. So, before going further into it, I want to explain that I'm just a student of Hinduism. I'm not an expert. I'm nothing else, just only a student. I don't know much more about the religion, and just only born in Hinduism. I just born in a Hindu family. My parents were Hindu. I'm Hindu because of that. And I think that's not a big deal that I'm born in a Hinduism and I'm a Hindu. So just consider me as a student, and it might be something wrong delivered from me, so forgive me. And one more thing is that religion is a complex subject, and nobody can say that I'm expert in religious studies. We have to take care more when we're choosing the words about religion. So when I choose to study Hinduism, because my parents were Hindu, but I thought that I have to read it, what is in there, what in the books said. So what I found in Hinduism that there's independence, and what I choose, that whatever I want to choose, there's in Hinduism. So freedom, would I really need that? Freedom is more important for me, for every part. So I found freedom. There's thousands of gods there. There's many of gods. Whatever gods you want to choose, you can choose it. So I can choose my personal gods. I choose Ganesha. I choose Shiva. Whatever gods. So there's the freedom of choosing anything. There's no any language barriers in the Hinduism. And I thought, okay, there you go. This is religion. It's not a religion, but it's a way of teaching, way of living. And I personally said that Hinduism is not a religion. And I found diversity, inclusions, acceptance, and tolerance in Hinduism. And I really found that these all are really working in Hinduism or not. And I found they're really working there. And I decided, okay, I will continue there. And then I found that Hinduism is a philosophy of the living God. It's a living God. There's no religion there. We accept everything. We accept some of things from different cultures. Even word Hindu, I never found Hindu word, any scriptures, any sacred book of Hinduism. And there's a freedom when there's a lots of gods there. We even don't have a founder. We don't have any prophet. We don't have a single sacred book. We have many of them. And we choose. Whatever you want to choose, there's many books there. Vedas there, Ramayana there, Gita there. So it's a living God. It teaches you how to live. Krishna said how to fight with your every worst situations, how to live, how to handle the worst situations, how to love each other, how to harmony in each other. We have a lot of acceptance from different cultures and different. We have space for others in Hinduism, And I personally believe that rather than being a religious person, it's much better to being a good human. And the humanity are really found in Hinduism. I found humanity. If you don't have a caring heart in this body, if you don't love to your brothers and sisters, if you don't care for others, if you don't feel pain of others, even animals, you are, I'm afraid to say, you are no anymore religious though. Every religion teaches us all of these things, love to each other. Every religion teaches us to love and care for brothers, forgive us, forgive everyone, forgive your brothers, love your brothers, care for your sisters. If you don't care that who is hungry in your neighbors, it means there's no religion there. Every religion teaches us all of these things. So yes, as I told you, that Hinduism, there is no religion. We accept different things. We accept even the word Hindu. This is not word Hindu is written in everywhere, any word of Hindu scriptures. It comes from different. When the Persians came here from most of civilizations, they grew up and nourished at the river Indus. It's now in the Pakistan. When there was no Pakistan and Bangladesh, it was one country, India. And the Persians came here, and what they did, they came here and they saw, oh, there's a civilized nations is here. Most Vedas, more books are written on the river of Indus. And they came here. They in their language, they didn't have S. Though river called Sindhu, and they didn't have H, so they introduced the word Hindu. Rather than a Sindhu, they started Hindu. And we said, okay, we accept that word Hindu. There's no Hindu word written in any scriptures and books of Hinduism. So we accepted that word. So there is an acceptance. Then the Alexander came to India, and then he passes that land and Indus, and then he saw, okay, in their languages there's no H. They started to call us India, I. You can say, whatever English I'm speaking, you can identify me. Okay, this guy is not from Canada. He speaks English a little bit weird. And we realized that these guys come from overseas, and they didn't know about Sanskrit, about the Hindis. They are calling us Hindus. Okay, no problem. Okay, we accept that we are Hindus. You refer us as Hindus, and we accept it. There is acceptance in Hinduism. So there is a tolerance in Hinduism. That's why the Hinduism not a religion, though. It's the only art of living things. One more thing is that I want to clear that we said mostly that ekam sat anek path. The truth is one. We all have a different paths. We all have a different paths, but there's destination and goal is only one. And that we want to go that goal and the destination, and that's the truth. We all religions go to that truth. And Hindus are following that. Ekam only one. We have one more beautiful quote where I've seen, when I was taking some notes that I thought this, why are taking these notes? I can take these notes from my own experience. And I did. In my last 40 years age, I did all of those experiences from my own life. And I thought, Ekam Satnam Anek Panth is one of the most important part of the Hinduism, that they said everyone goes to one destination, and that the destination is the truth, means God. We all are part of that destination. We love to every destination, means we love to every religion. So we have a vast place for acceptance and tolerance. That's why we Hindus are more popular, that we tolerate everything. People comes from around the world, and they ruled us in India. We tolerated them. People come from different cultures to India for asylum. People come from Bhais from different cultures. We have no conversation there. You can come here, and you can stay here with your own faiths. There's no particular religious beliefs there. So that's all of Hinduism. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kumar. Our next speaker is Mr. Amand Singh. Amand Singh has been serving the Saskatchewan community in his best capacity since 2012. He plays a vital role in bridging the common objectives of different faiths. He has appeared on our panel a few times. His selection of words and speeches is very articulate. His focus is very focused on showcasing the teachings of Mr. Guru Nanak Dev in his real life and in his actions. Mr. Amand Singh.
Good afternoon. Assalamu alaikum. Sat Shri Akal. Namaste. First of all, I want to thank MDA Muslim Jama'at to organize such a beautiful event to talk about the founders of all faiths. Special thanks to Rashid and all the management, volunteers, and thanks to all you for your commitment to learn, to get together so we can get a better understanding of ourselves and communities we live in, and we have a mutual respect, prosperity, and peace among all of us. To start with, today's talk about Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji, who is the founder of Sikhism. I personally believe I don't have the wisdom or education or knowledge to talk about someone who is limitless, timeless, and with the education I have, which is not beyond time. However, saying that, I will still try to focus some light on his fundamentals and principles he laid on to ourselves, which we still follow and observe till today's date. So the word Sikh itself means a seeker. It's a Sanskrit word which means a student who's always keep on seeking, learning. Like today also I'm learning more about my fellow friends, about you, and whenever I have an opportunity to engage. What happened? Sorry. Okay. Sorry about that. So, sorry about the voice clarity there. So today I'm also seeking this as an opportunity to meet all of you, and we can understand, create more knowledge and awareness about ourselves and people who are following different faiths and how we can create a mutual understanding. Guru Nanak was born in 1469. Since his childhood, he was seen as a very illuminated, timeless, conscious person, and he traveled 30,000 kilometers approximately in all directions to spread the word of one God. He voiced out for the poor and for the weaker, and raised the voice and challenged the authority at that time that this is not right thing to do. And we always see that in our societies today, that the social justice, what we call it today. So the courage to stand against the power, to protect the weaker section, I would say is the most courageous thing one can do in his life. He also brought us 3 fundamental principles like Kirt Karo, Naam Japo, and Vanchako. I'll explain that in English a bit. Kirt Karo means earn your living with honest means. Whatever profession I've been into, I should do my 100% right. Like how we call it integrity, like even nobody's watching me, I should be at my best behavior, my best practices, not taking away someone else's chance or credit. So earning your living with your honest means is the first thing. The second fundamental is sharing with the community. So creating langars, like community kitchens where we serve food to people, no matter from which race, color, creed, culture they come from or their faith they come from, we have no objection. You can sit with us and we can eat together. Nobody's going to ask you a question like if you are a Sikh or if you follow a Sikh faith or not. The only objective is to share that food first. If someone is curious to know, then we can tell you, but nobody's going to force you to learn about Sikhism. The third most fundamental is Naam Japo, that is reciting that Lord's name. Now, it might be seen as more of a mechanical thing, but the idea behind is if you're going to think that, okay, God is watching me and the people around me, the part of God is present in all of them, I would be at my best behavior in myself. Also, if I am thinking that someone is watching me and there's a superior power on top of me, and then I'm trying to or recall him, calling his name time and again, will keep me, okay, my founder did these things. I have to be like him. We can try. We can't be, but we can try. Any faith you follow, what we do is, we always try to talk about the good deeds of our founders and our masters and people who preaches us. The one thing I personally see in myself or like around me is that we fail to do actions in ourselves. If my founder told me that, okay, nirpao, nirvair, that we don't have to have any enemies, nobody's our enemy, and I don't also have to fear from anyone. So it has to inculcate in my actions. The fourth fundamental is very much in action in our community, in Sikh community, and you will see in news as well all the time. It's Sarbat da Pala. That is the well-being of the entire universe, entire world, which also includes not only humans, but any living being or non-living being. Like non-living being is the environment we are polluting today. Sikhism itself is not an individual faith or religion. It is more of a community religion. I'll give you an example. Like, take an example of COVID. If I'm not taking proper precautions, I am a danger to everyone. And same way, if I'm doing proper precautions at my home, but not at a societal level, like here, we all are wearing masks and everything, then I'm also not contributing to the society. So having a clean water at your home will not eliminate the danger of having a polluted water in the river. Having air filters in your home or air circulation systems at home would not eliminate dangers of polluted air outside. So the faith itself also teaches us, instructs us in a way that I personally am responsible for my own actions, as well as I have the responsibility to create a like mind together, and we should be standing together against all those evils of society and try to eliminate all those evils by educating, not by fighting with someone, not by hating them, just by educating them, showing that how good you can be. Same with feminism, what we talk about today. Guru Nanak was the first person who said that So kyo manda akhiye jit jamera jaan. So I'll translate in English. The word he said was that how can you curse a woman who gave birth to all of us and the people who rule the world like kings and the masters what we say that it's one is a fixed proportion and one's variable proportion. Women are variable proportion because they create a life. So you will see, like today we talk about more equality, more women rights, the voting rights, the education right. But if you just see 100 years ago or 150 years ago, even in the western part of the world, we have the same issues. And feminism now comes more into light, the equality. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji was the first one who brought that idea of equality. So in Sikhism, there's no, apart from no discrimination of age, color, creed, religion, faith, there's no discrimination of a woman or a man or a person who can come to the temple, who can come to the Gurudwara, who can recite from the Holy Guru Granth Sahib or not. I will try to conclude it with the responsibilities laid upon us by our master are like, which can be narrated to words. Today's environmental issues, feminism, sharing, caring, community, and the message beyond time. These things were said 552 years ago, and they're still relevant. So in the start of this speech, I said, I am trying to explain someone who is beyond time, who is without limit. So I'm trying to showcase some light on his teachings and his values. Now, when we say sharing with the community, if you see news from England when the truckers were stuck on the highway because of COVID lockdown, there was a Sikh organization who came forward to provide them the hot lunches. Same in the BC, right now, the wildfires in Australia, there's an organization called Khalsa Aid. Khalsa itself means pure, and we've been told to to serve the community. In BC floods also, if you have heard the news, the Gurudwaras, the Sikh temples have been organizing, people are getting together, they are creating lunches and trying to deliver it to wherever they can possibly can, and try to communicate with the services from police and fire so that they can get more help. Same with when we had the fire in Alberta 2 years ago. So the idea of Sikhism is to share, to uplift the people who are weak, to help the people who are in need, and to come up as a role model of the society and be at your best behavior. So Guru Nanak's life is difficult to be concluded and talk about in 15 minutes, but this was all about the Sikh faith. I want to thank Mr. Balbir, who is leading our Sikh temple on the west side of the city. In the coronavirus time, we are still running from that. He opened up a web page where people can call them, and they were delivering the hot food for them. Like preparing the food at the temple and taking it to the people's places. And if they want something else, we were helping with that too. And single-handedly, I would say we are trying to be part of that, but the dedication he has to help and serve the community and to live by example the fundamentals and principles laid by our master, he is a living example of that. Today also, we was talking and he said, and we also have to bring some food. So Mr. Balbir has brought food as well, which is going to be served after this session. So me and Rashid were talking about the same thing of bringing all the cultures and communities together, and we were just debating a rough idea of organizing a blood donation camp where we can have people from all faiths get together, and we can give a strong message to all the people that this is how the community has to look like, this is how we can live together, this is how we can share and care for each other when we are in need, and we can hold each other's hand to get together strongly, so that we can face those small voices. They're not big enough. They're just one or two odd cases where we see that hatred. But if we are together, we can educate each other. We can live happily with prosperity and create our communities stronger, happy, loving. Canada is itself being seen as the most human right protecting country where people are all across the world can live together. But at our level, what our responsibility is, at our community level, at smaller groups, we can showcase that as well, so it can be a more welcoming society to everyone. And we can also try to care each other regardless of their race, color, creed, or culture. I always tell myself a question that if a small kid is crying on the street, no one of us gonna ask him his culture or creed or religion or anything. We will try to find how we can soothe that person or kid, or how we can help him, how we can stop him cry. So if we can create that idea in our minds and ourselves, I think we can create better, stronger communities who have a lot of love, affection, mutual respect, and prosperity. And these are the all sayings we try to till day focus and follow. We may divert from our path, but at the end of the day, when we eat our meals, thank the farmers who are growing it, thanks the truckers who are putting their life at risk on this snowing and stormy weather, bringing these supplies to us, and count on our blessings. This is all from me. Thanks again for all the volunteers. Thanks to you for listening to us patiently and your dedication to learn and educate ourselves, each other. And thanks to all the volunteers. Thanks to Mr. Balbir and the opportunity this podium has given me to speak. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, Mr. Amand Singh. Our last speaker for tonight is Sadhayat Bajwa Sahib, who was our missionary for the Saskatchewan chapter. He is a life devotee of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. He was born in Kota, Pakistan. He did his school from Lahore, and then he studied 7 years at the Ahmadiyya Religious Institution in Rabwa. Alongside that, he also has a bachelor's in journalism from the Punjab University. He served in different cities all over Pakistan till 2019, Then he moved to Canada and served in Vancouver for 2 years. And like I said, he's currently with us here in Saskatoon. I'd like to invite him for the final presentation for tonight.
Assalamu alaikum. May peace and blessings of Allah be upon you all. I know all of you are tired, but as Wajahat has said, that I am the last speaker, so just be with me for just a few minutes. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لقد كان لكم في رسول الله أسوة حسنة. This is the verse of the Holy Quran. It states that verily you have in the Prophet of Allah an excellent model. Today in this auspicious gathering, I will try to highlight few aspects of the holy founder of Islam, Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. His life and character not only captivated the hearts of 1.8 billion Muslims around the world, but rather his teachings and character pierced compassion and recognition in the hearts of non-Muslims as well. A famous French historian, Lamartine, was also a member of Legislative Assembly of France in 18th century. He has written this about the holy founder of Islam, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in his book History of Turkey. Philosopher, orator, apostle, legislator, warrior, conqueror of ideas, restorer of rational dogmas, the founder of 20 terrestrial empires and of one spiritual empire, that is Muhammad. As regards all standards by which human greatness may be measured, we may ask, is there any man greater than he? If greatness of purpose, smallness of means, and outstanding results are three criteria of human genius, who could dare to compare any great man in modern history with Muhammad? The most famous men created arms and empires only. They founded, if any at all, no more than material power, which often crumbled away before their eyes. This man merged not only armies, legislations, empires, peoples, and dynasties, but millions of men in 1/3 of the inhabited world. And more than that, moved the altars, the gods, the religions, the ideas, the beliefs, and the souls on the basis of a book, every letter of which has become law. He created a spiritual nationality of every tongue and every race. Ladies and gentlemen, first aspect of his life I want to talk about is interaction of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, with non-Muslims. Today, we are holding this event in the mosque, and I would like to share a few incidents related to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, with the mosque and non-Muslims. The Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, had a great love of the mosque. He used to go there, worship there. Once a Bedouin is a person who belongs to the deserts of Arabia, came to visit Medina, and he was staying in the mosque of the Holy Prophet, which is known as Masjid-e-Nabawi. He was staying there, he was observing Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his companions. They used to come there daily to offer 5-time daily prayers, and he could see that they wear clean clothes, and they don't even bring shoes inside the mosque. But one day, out of ignorance, what did that Bedouin did, that in the presence of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his companions, he started urinating in the courtyard of the mosque. Some of the companions started rushing towards him to stop him or to punish him. But the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, stopped him and said that let him finish and don't disturb him. And when he was done, the Holy Prophet, may peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, asked for a bucket of water, and washed that place. Then he turned to the companions and said, that you are not raised by God to cause difficulties for people. Always remember that you were raised to bring relief to mankind. On another occasion, a Christian delegation from Najran came to Medina for debating issues of difference between Islam and Christianity. Najran is also a place in Saudi Arabia. So they stayed for 3 days while engaged in a dialogue with the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. The time of their prayer arrived, and they seek permission from the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, so they can go outside and offer their prayers. The reply of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, was that the mosque was also a place of worship, and they were welcome to pray there, and they did. Some of the companions came while they were worshiping, and they were worshiping opposite the side of the Qibla. They were worshiping on this side. So some of the companions objected and tried to stop them. But the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, firmly prohibited them and said that I have permitted them because this is the house of God. And no man has the right to object to anyone who worships God in a place devoted for the sake of worship. On another occasion, a delegation from Monastery of St. Catherine asked him to write a pronouncement to the effect that their monastery should be protected when Islam would become victorious to that part of the world. The St. Catherine Monastery is located in Egypt, and it's also a UNESCO World Heritage Site as well. So after receiving this request, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, wrote orders to the effect, and to our knowledge, that parchment is still preserved in Turkey. It reads, no one should ever interfere with the property of the monastery, nor with the figure of the cross or any other article which represents their faith. They should not be molested in any manner whatsoever. Anyone ignoring this will not be one of us. Dear listeners, our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was persecuted and maltreated by the followers of different faiths. But never even once did he speak ill of other faiths. Instead, he gave them glad tidings based on God's revelation. It is recorded in the Quran, chapter 2, verse 63. God says, surely the believers and the Jews and the Christians and the Sabians, the people who believe in the other books, whichever party from among these truly believes in God and the last day and does good deeds shall have their reward with their Lord, and no fear shall come upon them, nor shall they grieve. The next aspect of his life I want to highlight is his treatment with women. In today's Western society, a voice is raised against Islam, that Islam does not give equal rights to women. They criticize the Muslims that women are suppressed and have no say and aren't given the rights men have. It is interesting that some of our Western nations raise this voice and forget about the fact that women in the West only recently started getting fair treatment and equal rights that Islam gave women 1400 years ago. For example, in the United Kingdom, women were given the rights to own property in 1882 under the Married Women's Property Act. Before this, women in United Kingdom could not hold property independently of her husband. Similarly, in Italy, women received the right of owning property in 1919. Islam gave these rights to women over 1400 years ago when the Holy Prophet, founder of Islam, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, came. The Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, preached the beautiful teaching of the Holy Quran that both men and women are created equal and are capable of attaining the highest level of morality and spirituality. Allah says in chapter 4, 125, "But whoso does good works, whether male or female, and is a believer, shall enter heaven." Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was very considerate towards the kind treatment and sentiments of women. Once he was traveling with the women, and during a journey while women were also part of the caravan, the companions of the Prophet, peace be upon him, started racing the animals in hurry. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, stopped them, saying, "Take care of the glass, take care of the glass," referring that women were also among them, so be delicate. When his beloved daughter, Hazrat Fatima, radiyallahu anha, used to visit her, he would stand up and receive her and offer his place of sitting to her. Last aspect of the life of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, I want to highlight today is racism. When this subject is talked about today, many people are heard quoting Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech, in which he said that "I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." The Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, had a very similar message given 1400 years ago. He said that an Arab has no superiority over a non-Arab, nor a non-Arab over an Arab. A white person is not superior to a black person, nor a black is superior to a white. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, guides us that who is most honorable in sight of God. Allah says in the Holy Quran, "Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum." Verily, the most honorable among you in the sight of God is the one who is the most righteous. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught his people to look beyond the shades of skin color. He said, "Allah, God, does not look towards your shapes and sizes, but He sees towards your hearts and your actions." Ladies and gentlemen, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community has accepted the Messiah of the later days, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of Qadian alayhi salam, founder of our community, who continuously advise us to follow the example of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. I will conclude with a quote from the writings of the promised Messiah in praise of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, which gives us a glimpse of the beauty of this noble prophet. He said, "I look always with wonder at this Arab prophet, whose name is Muhammad, thousands of blessings and peace be upon him. How exalted his status was. One cannot perceive the ultimate limit of his station, and it is not within the scope of man to fully comprehend due depth and penetration of his ennobling qualities. Alas, due recognition has not been paid to his lofty rank. That unity which had disappeared from the world was restored by this same valiant champion. He loved God most intensely, so also his soul was consumed in deep sympathy for mankind. That is why God, who was fully aware of the hidden excellences of his heart, exalted him above all the prophets and all the people of the past and the future, and fulfilled his heart's desire in the span of his lifetime. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa barik wa sallim. Innaka hamidun majid. Thank you very much.
Jazakallah Rabbi Sahab. That brings us to our question and answer sessions. We received a few different questions. The first question that I have is actually for the whole panel, and it's a very hard question, I think. What is the biggest warning that your religious founder has given to your people? I'll give you guys a minute to maybe think about it, then we'll start from maybe Tom and we'll work our way down.
Hello.
Could you repeat the question?
Yes. So the question is, sorry, I'm just going to open up on my phone. What is the greatest warning that your individual religious founders has given to your people or to the world? So the biggest warning that either Jesus gave to his disciples or the people. You can take a couple minutes to think about it, and if anybody else on the panel is ready before, we can always pass it to them.
Hi. So the warning, it could be a warning, or you can say a fundamental principle again from the Guru Nanak Dev Ji. It is about, I first say that in Punjabi, the native language, Hak Praya Nanka. So it means that one should not be cheating and taking someone else's earned property, money, or even their credit. If I didn't do something and Tom did it, and I'm just telling people that, okay, oh, I did it, so I'm taking his credit. Even taking a credit of someone else's actions, good causes, is the worst thing has been advised to all these Sikhs. So why we have again, come back to first fundamental, earn your living with honesty. So that's the, you can say, fundamental as well, and as also something which has been told us not to do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amaddeep. I think I can take a stab at this one. It almost like resonates with what you said. There was an incident in the Gospels where Jesus comes across the money changers in the temple, and they were using the temple as you might say, a money-changing marketplace. And so what Jesus did was he took the whips and he overturned the tables and he drove the money changers out. And in his warning to everyone, he said, stop making my Father's temple into a den of thieves. And so essentially what Jesus said after that is, zeal for your house will consume me. Zeal for your house. In other words, zeal for your heart will consume me, because he knew exactly what would corrupt people's hearts in the terms of the things that are of the material world. And he said, we can so easily get taken in by those cares of the world, and we start to become blind to the cares of what's really important, and that's right relationship and living in harmony with one another. And another time when the Pharisees wanted to trick Jesus, since they asked if it was lawful to pay taxes to the emperor. And Jesus, knowing their hypocrisy, if you will, kind of turned it on them and said, whose image is on the coin? And they said, well, it's Caesar's. And Jesus says, well, if it has his picture on it, if it belongs to him, then give it back to him. Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Give to God what belongs to God. Don't be corrupted by the cares of the world so much. Be more consumed with what it means to live in right relationship and in honor of God.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. Our Islamic teaching and warning, the Holy Quran states that the purpose of creation of human beings is the worship. And if you turn away from the worship of God, that is the biggest warning for everyone. God wants us to have a connection with Him. And the thing which He has prescribed for that connection is the worship. So if the greatest warning which I can just elaborate simply, is that if we are deviating from the worship of our Lord, for which we have created, so God's punishment will come in this world as well and in the hereafter as well. This is the greatest warning given to Muslims and from the Holy Prophet, founder of Islam, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
In Hinduism, there's incarnations. It means that a rebirth. So a man and human can come many times in this world, and what he did, good deeds or bad deeds in the past, his birth, and then he will get a new birth. So every Hindu wants to get rid out of it and get a moksha, means eternal life, no more coming in this world. But I personally feel that's challenge. I want to come again and again as a human, as a human in this world, and to serve the humanity. There's a lots of pain around here in the humanity, lots of work to do, poverty. There's many people around, they're suffering for the pain. I want to serve them. I want to come again as a human. So I don't need eternal life, what the Hindus said. That's a challenge for me. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is for Imam Sahib. Was this event created by the founder of Ahmadiyyat, or is there some sort of significance of why we're doing this event?
Yes, thank you. The founder of Ahmadiyya Muslim community, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of Qadian, started this initiative where, as he belongs from India, and where our both brothers are, and myself as well. So there are different faith groups and followers. So in order to give them a platform and so they can come and elaborate about the holy founders and their teachings. So in order to bring the gap between different denominations and make an harmonious and peaceful society, it was started by the founder of Ahmadiyya Muslim community from India, Qadian, and we celebrate this Holy Founders Day in all over Canada and all over the world, so that the bridges, the gap between different religions can be, reduced, and people can sit together and share their thoughts and teachings about the holy founders of their community.
Jazakallah, thank you. The next two questions are for Mr. Kumar. They go outside the scope of our topic today, but we have got a couple of people asking this question. Can you explain that, can one be born into Hinduism, or convert into Hinduism, or do they have to be born into Hinduism? And can you also please explain the concept of God in Hinduism as well?
As I earlier mentioned, that we don't have any conversations and we're born Hindu, so there was no need to be a Hindu if you want to come to a temple, if you want to follow the, because this is not a religion, right? So everyone is welcome without any race, color, and religion, and everyone can come to join us. When we're chanting, you can join us in the temple, so that there's no need of conversation in Hinduism. And second one is that where there's thousands of millions of gods, and I said that the destination is one, and we have a Brahma. Brahman means one superior solo god, and all the worships we are worshipping to different devatas and devis, they all goes to one solo god. It calls Vishnu, Brahmans. This is one. And in Gita Ji, Krishna said that you can follow the paths, whatever you choose, and whatever you choose for devis, means demigods. Even this, there's a diverse in the goddess. We have a female gods too. And for the God's sake, because none of us can touch the God. We can just only feel the God, imagination about the God. And Hinduism is just a religion, just like a religion which is very close to nature's. We have gods like sun god, Suraj Devata. We see every day sun god. He gives us sunshine to every day. Jal Devata means a god of water. We can feel water, we can touch water, and we can drink water. So as same, there's a god of fire. So every god have their own departments. They are doing their works. So all of these things going to one solo god, it calls the Brahmans. So we have also one god, Brahmans, and this Brahmans comes to this world in different shapes. He came as a Krishna, he came as Rama, and he came whenever there's any problems, evils in the societies, in this world, then always the Brahma comes in this world and he eradicate all of those evil from here. Thanks.
Thank you very much. As we are short on time because we had to start a little late, this would be the final questions. And if your question didn't get asked, feel free to ask the speakers when we have lunch in the gymnasium after. So the final question is, and I'll paraphrase, is in your opinion, what are your thoughts about the other religious founders, either from sayings from your religious founder or from any other dogma? So it's another hard one, so if you want a minute to think about it, we can review. So what is your opinion of the other religious founders, either through their sayings or other religious dogmas or scripture?
Thank you. In the beginning, the verses of the Holy Quran which were just recited, so there were mention of different prophets, from Prophet Jesus, Prophet Moses, Prophet Abraham, and some other prophets as well. So in the end, the word comes that kullu minas salihin, that all of them were the righteous and holy men. So this is our belief that all of the religious founders were holy men, and it's our responsibility to have to respect them and always keep in mind that respect and dignity of a religious founder is the fundamental of keeping peace and harmony in the society.
Mostly we respect every religious faiths, but I want to share that I heard something that in last sermon of Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he said there is no superior, no Arab is superior than non-Arab. It means there's no discrimination in Islam. And one of most beautiful thing which he said that forgiveness is better than revenge. So I really endorse that. This is one of the most beautiful things. There's no superiority complex in there, and forgiveness, forgive your enemies. So I love this.
Thank you.
I have a tremendous respect for our multi-faith country and our multi-faith community, and a profound respect for the different faith traditions in our community, which is one of the reasons why I devote a significant portion of my Catholic Studies course in grade 12 to world religions. I think one of the greatest scourges of our society today is the scourge of ignorance. And how are we supposed to build bridges of understanding if we remain closed? And so I endeavor to try to do that, because when you have heard the various presentations today, you can understand, I feel, you can understand how much more alike we are than different. And ultimately, it's just the terminology that's a little bit different. It's the ritual that might be a little different. But in my class, and we're embarking on this towards the end of the week, we are doing a study on the various rituals within different faith traditions: Islam, Buddhism, Islam, Sikhism. Not Christianity, interestingly enough, because we assume our students are quite grounded in the Christian understanding, but it's the other religions that we want to break open a little bit and to present how different religions celebrate funerals or marriages or baptisms or those sorts of things. And so it's a matter of enlightening the students and enlightening all of us to understand that we are much more united than we are divided. Unfortunately, though, we still like to concentrate on the divisions as opposed to the unifications. So this is why one of these events is such a groundbreaking experience for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would start to say that the living master for Sikhs is Tan Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, which consists of 1430 pages of hymns sung by our masters, and people of other faiths too. So you will find, if someone wants to be more knowing that, you will find the hymns written by people with the Hindu background, with people with the Muslim background, and those are all collected together and compiled together, and we bow our head in front of our holy book every single day. That's our living master, and where we take the guidance. Saying in the same breath, I would say that we are Bridge City, Saskatoon. So I would say again the same thing, resonating with everyone here, that the core fundamentals of all the faiths are, I personally strongly believe, same. Nobody teaches us to hate anyone. So then if someone is hating anyone, then I think we are lacking in our education and fundamentals to teach them and guide them. Take example of a garden. If we have all the same flowers, we will get bored with that. So we need a diversity. We have all the kitchen gardens and the flowers and everything. Everybody has a different taste and stuff, right? But if we have a variety of things, we have a better perspective, first of all. We have more diversity and diverse ideas which we can expand. Just think to yourself for a second, oh, maybe I'm wrong. Let me hear someone else, what their thought and perspective on that is. So that's the only way we can build mutual respect, common understanding. And if we can work on the core values, as I said before, that if we can do these kind of things more often, and someone asked that why the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at is doing that. I'm not the one who should be answering that, but I have one thing to say, that I am respectful, honored, and blessed that at least someone is taking a lead, organizing this kind of an event where we can explore the understanding, share the mutual core values. If I am not taking the lead, if someone is taking the lead, so I think it's a very commendable job for the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat for organizing not this only event. In the past too, they have a few events where we have discussed and throw those ideas. I'm sorry I took a little longer, but thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Everybody appreciates all those answers, so thank you to everyone over here. We would now like to conclude the program. I would invite our local president to come say a few words and then lead us in silent prayers.
In the name of Allah, the gracious, the merciful, respected speakers, and my dear guests, peace and blessings of Allah be with you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Having listened to our esteemed speakers, today I can confidently say that the universal message from all our religious founders is of spreading love, kindness, and spending our lives in the service of humanity. We have started off on the right foot with gathering here today to spread this beautiful message of our religious founders in our city of Saskatoon. And we hope and pray that every step that we take will spread this message of love and kindness around the world. I am eternally grateful for our speakers today who took the time to share their knowledge with us, and for the guests who came to be a part of this gathering even in this harsh weather of Saskatoon. I would like also to thank our brothers from the Sikh community for collaborating with us and providing lunch, which I'm sure we will all like to enjoy now. Respected friends, every successful event has countless volunteers who work behind the scene. Today is no exception, and I sincerely thank them for their volunteer work. So without taking any more of your time, it is our tradition to conclude event with silent prayer. Since we have such a diverse community presence, I encourage everyone to join in their own customs. Please join me in silent prayer. Amen. Amen.